Well, welcome for people that are just joining us here. Uh, we are live on Facebook and we are live on Zoom. My name is Greg Jameson. With me today is Mike Capuzzi. And Mike and I actually met because he was on my podcast several months ago. Mike wrote a book. Actually, he had written several books before that, before he came on my podcast, but he wrote a book after that called The 100-Page Book. And I read it and thought, I had written several books before that. You can see some of them in the background here. And I thought, what Mike is doing here really makes a lot of sense, to just write a book that somebody can read in less than an hour. So I took his advice to heart and I wrote my 100-page book called Monetize Your Expertise. And Monetize Your Expertise was actually just officially released yesterday or the day before. I don't remember now, but a day or two ago. And doing all of the right things here, it made the Amazon bestseller list right away, which is really cool. But the idea here is that you are an expert, and pretty much everybody is an expert at something. And so you too can write a book and kind of showcase your expertise. And in my book, I tell you actually how to then turn around and monetize your expertise. So at any rate, I want to welcome Mike here because Mike was kind enough to write the foreword for my new book and really appreciated his insights on that. So welcome, Mike. I'll let you have the microphone for a second here.
First of all, Greg, congratulations on the release of your latest book this week. So congratulations on that. And listen, I've been bragging about you because I didn't even know until after it was done that you read the 100-page book, the book I just wrote. And within like 2 weeks, you had your own 100-page book. I thought, boy, I've been using you as an example for folks to follow me. Like, hey, this guy can do it, did it, you can do it. So congratulations on the book. Congratulations on taking that action. And, the beauty of this, Greg, is your book is going to help a lot of people. And that's really, one of the things I just want to start off right off this bat is saying, listen, if you're an expert at something, which again, most of us have the experience in something, there are people out there, chances are there are people out there that want to learn more about what you do, what you're an expert in. And by not giving them that information, you're really holding back. You're not serving them to the best of your ability. And I think, Greg, you're just a great example of service and helping people and wanting to help people. I call it helping before selling. You're helping people before trying to even introduce anything as far as something that you can sell. And just again, congratulations.
Thanks. I think that's really important what you're saying about helping people before you try to sell anything. The book, it's only 99 cents on Amazon. And quite honestly, the only reason it's 99 cents is because Amazon won't let me give it away for free. And the reason I was able to write this thing in 2 weeks, quite honestly, is not because I sat down and just spent 2 weeks writing something that I didn't know anything about type thing. I had done a course called Monetize Your Expertise last spring as a way of helping people as they were trying to deal with all of these things of businesses closing, job layoffs. How can I possibly be making money while everything is being shut down? And I've been helping people with their online stores now for 2 decades. So between the 2 decades worth of experience and the having put together this course, I really had all of the material there ahead of time. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to just sit down and crank out a book in 2 weeks. I'm not sure. I do know somebody that actually wrote a book in a weekend, so I know it's possible to do it. But the reality is I had a lot of material that I was able to pull together. But what you were saying there about helping people before trying to sell them anything, Yeah, the book is one example of that. But the other thing that I'm actually doing right now, the book is part of a launch towards my online course that starts on September 9th. And prior to that online course, I'm actually doing a series of master classes leading up to that as well, which are also free. You know, people can join my free masterclass here. It's it goes on for actually 4 weeks, but it's 4 days worth of materials. So you can do the thing in 4 days, you can do it in 4 weeks, whatever, but it's totally free. And it's because I really think that there are a lot of people out there, like you said, everybody's an expert at something. And there are definitely ways that everybody can monetize what they're an expert at.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. And again, you know, you're right to bring it to everyone's attention. But again, I always like to sort of flip it and realize that there's people that need your help. And that's the focus. That should be the motivation, that you want to help people, you want to serve people first. And then when that relationship is established, in your case, Greg, you already have relationships, but folks that don't know you, they're going to buy your book, they're going to take your free master class. It just makes the pathway ultimately to when you do want to monetize your expertise here with your training. It makes it that much more straight, and it makes it that much easier, more natural, more congruent by using the strategy you're using. So it's, you know, you're teaching people what to do by doing what you're doing.
Yeah. And you too as well, obviously, with the 100-page book, which is kind of what got me started on doing this one. Let me ask you a question. Do you use your book? I know your book, you actually got it up to #1 on Amazon and a couple categories. Is that something that you are looking at as a way of monetizing your expertise right up front, or is your book more of a lead magnet?
When you say what, trying to become a bestseller, sort of monetizing it from book sales?
Right.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I mean, the kind of books I write, you write probably also, the kind of books I help business owners write, it's not about making money with book sales. Though we've done fairly well this time around, because I really took a concerted effort and tried to kind of get out of my own way and see if I could leverage Amazon much more fully than I have in the past. But no, it's never been, Greg, about the, you know, my Kindle book's 99 cents. Also, the paperback is $5. You know, you want to make it accessible and easy for people to say yes to. But I will tell you, Greg, the book's been live for about a month now, and I think we're up to 8 or 9 new clients already. And you know, we have a fairly substantial price point, so you know, it just shows you that a book and a book-centric marketing strategy can work. And by the way, I have to tell you, Greg, another little tidbit I haven't shared with you yet. My youngest daughter, who just is now attending her freshman year of college, so we just took her up to school last week. She has a gentleman she's been dating for about 2 months now, and I like him. I'm a typical old school dad, you know. So it's like I'm putting everyone through the mill. But this kid's an entrepreneur. This kid has an amazing. He's a metal fabricator. He goes to college. He's studying metal fabrication and so a trade and business. So he's going to have a dual degree eventually. He wants to open up his own hot rod shop. He builds hot rods also. But the other thing he does is he builds fire pits, these very cool handcrafted fire pits. And he sells through Facebook primarily. And I pointed him, Greg, to you. I think he signed up for your list. He's probably doing your masterclass because he's the kind of guy that you're targeting, right? He's an expert at making fire pits. He's a young kid. He's making a lot of money on the side as he's going to college, making these fire pits. But he doesn't have an online presence. So I pointed him to you, Greg. He may be watching this even. I don't know if he's in class. But what you're doing, Greg, I think by helping either established business owners or even new entrepreneurs create an online presence, I think is just, you know, that's why when you asked me to write the foreword, it was like a no-brainer, because I believe in what you're doing. And even now with all that's going on with COVID and the pandemic, I mean, I don't know what your experience has been as far as your clients, but what is happening in your opinion with online businesses? Are they growing? Are they stagnant? What's going on there?
Overall, it has gone way up. Uh, when people are stuck at home, they end up buying stuff, and they online sales. Certainly, you sit here, you look at the headlines and stuff, and like online sales for Home Depot doubled during the pandemic time here. But I've got clients that went through my class in the spring. They started at ground zero. I've actually got graphs of this where I've gone in. I helped them build their store, which is a really cool thing about my course. It's not just a course, it's a full program. At the end of the program, you end up with a fully functional e-commerce website. And I've got students that took the course in the spring. They started at ground zero, and right now they're doing over $10,000 a month. And it is, been a lifesaver for them, basically. Their business, being able to have a physical presence simply wasn't making it anymore. And now they're selling things online, and it's been fantastic.
Are these folks, Greg, that are selling physical products? Are they selling information? Is it a little bit of both? Like, some of these students that started in the spring, I'd love to hear more about some of those folks.
Yeah, pretty much everybody that went through the course in the spring, not everybody, but I'd say 90% of them are selling physical products.
Oh.
And that is something that I think it really differentiates kind of what I'm doing versus a lot of these people out there saying, hey, you can be selling digital downloadable products. Yeah, you can. And that's a good way to monetize your expertise. In fact, I recommend that you sell multiple things on your website. The more streams of income you have on your website, the more successful it's going to be. But one of the things that you want to do, even as an expert, you don't just want to sell your time. You don't just want to sell digital products. You do want to have a physical product that somebody can actually buy. And, I suggest different things, like a physical product can certainly be a book. One of the things that I suggest people do is they make t-shirts relative to what they're selling. And I practice what I preach. This particular shirt here is available when you take my class. You get one of these shirts, and it's actually a good conversation starter. It says, ask me about my online store. So you're going to have an online store when you get done taking my course, and you wear this thing around. People, yeah, tell me about your online store. But yeah, there's lots of different ways to sell physical products. An example, you wanted to know about some of my students. I've got a student from this last spring class that runs a hair growth clinic for people like me that have kind of thinning hair, whatever. She helps you get a full head of hair back. And she does this for people that have alopecia, people that are cancer patients, whatever, that not just male pattern baldness. But she has a bunch of products that she uses in her practice, whether they be scalp therapy creams, laser caps, all different kinds of things. And so she had a website before she came into my class, but she did not have an online store. And I was like, okay, so here's a couple of things that we could do so that you have multiple streams of income on your website. One is you, because of the COVID lockdown, you can't have patients coming in. You can be selling online consultations. So that's one of the things that we added to her shop was online consultations. People register, pay online, do a meeting like what we're doing now. She can actually look at point your head down into the camera and look at your medical history and kind of look at things. It may be not the same as touching somebody, but she has been able to get new patients that way. The other thing is the products that she uses, she actually has put those up into an online store now where she is selling these shampoos and creams and laser caps and so forth. And I showed her how she can actually source some of this stuff directly from China, so she's not having to pay middleman prices and so forth. And that's the kind of thing. Let me give you an example of another one. Speaking of patients, is I had a doctor friend that was going through and basically experimenting on his patients with different supplements for the various conditions that they would come in for. You know, it might be irritable bowel syndrome or celiac disease, whatever. And he tried all these different supplements, all these different brands, see which ones were actually working the best for his patients. And once he established that, he was able to then say, hey, these particular supplements work best for people that are experiencing these kind of symptoms. And I said, you know, doc, you really ought to just sell those supplements online. And we ended up creating an online store with him, and he is actually making more money now selling supplements than he does through his practice.
And Greg, with like in that particular case, because I know there's I've been on the online world for years. I don't consider myself, even though I have an online store, I don't consider myself, that's part of my business. So it's not my primary focus. I don't consider myself an online retailer, but I'm interested in knowing, someone like that, is he drop shipping that stuff? Does he have his own inventory? I mean, you have students that probably do all the above, right? Where they're either just, like you said with the lady in China, drop shipping something. But if they have existing products, are you able to help those kind of people too? Like my daughter's boyfriend, I mean, he's not drop shipping, he's hand making stuff. So it's another
Right.
extreme. But is it all the above? Like what's a typical student, doing as far as products?
Yeah, all of the above. And in the case of the doctor, he's got his own inventory. He ended up private labeling stuff in the long run. So he found the stuff that was working the best, and like I said, ended up private labeling the stuff. There are people that do drop shipping, but it doesn't, you sit here and you think, okay, a doctor, does he really need an online store type thing? And like I said, yeah, he's selling supplements. The hair growth clinic, yeah, she's selling the creams and shampoos and so forth. I've got a yoga instructor, and the primary thing that she was selling, obviously, was her time doing online lessons and so forth. But you can sit here and look at a yoga instructor and go, she could be selling yoga pants and yoga pads and whatnot. So whatever your expertise is, there's almost always money out there to be supplementing your income if you just think about it.
Right. And the other thing is, if you go back to the helping before selling concept, because it's funny you mentioned yoga. A couple of years ago, I was trying to do yoga, and I really ought to be doing yoga because, flexibility and all that as you get older. And as soon as I started, I realized, yes, you need straps and blocks and pads, and I had to go find that stuff. But if you're thinking about how can I help before I sell, by curating that stuff for your prospects, your students, your clients, your customers, you're just making it that much easier. Maybe not every one of them is going to buy from you, but at least you say, listen, you're going to start a yoga class with me. Here's the recommended products I have. You can buy them from me. You can go elsewhere, but at least I'm making it easy. Here are my recommended products. And it's just that much easier for the person to say yes. So yeah, it's a good example.
Yeah, I really think that regardless of what you are an expert at, whether it be yoga, whether you be a plumber, whether you be a doctor, you are an expert at something. And there is so many different ways that you can help people. And you can help them by having online consultations. You can help them by providing digital information to them you could, if it's a plumber, for example, or an auto mechanic, people might be going, well, how can you really be doing that online? And the fact is that you can be, look, if doctors can be doing online consultations and diagnostics over a Zoom meeting, then you could certainly do that as a mechanic or a plumber as well. You could be doing online diagnostics for people. You may not be able to fix the problem, but you can probably do the diagnostics. And then the amount of knowledge that you have gained over the years by doing what you're doing, that's information that people will probably pay you to give them that knowledge. And you want to serve them first, like you said. You want to give away all your best stuff up front, but when it comes to individual consultations, then you can definitely be charging for your time. You can have all kinds of things on your website. The way that I teach this is that you can be selling services as well as products. And then you may find that there are products that are relative to what you're doing as well. I've actually got another example that I want to share with you. I work with a company that is a concrete pumping company. And so here's a contractor, they're pumping concrete, but what they've ended up doing is working with all these other contractors in the region and helping them with their concrete pumps. And they actually have an online store now selling parts to concrete pumps. So like I said, you can monetize your expertise in all kinds of ways.
You mentioned the auto repair guy or gal, and I have a guy who's been a client, he's been a mastermind member over the years. I've known him for over a decade. He owns an auto repair shop in New Jersey, so I'm out on the East Coast. And Greg, he's got his bricks and mortar business. So he primarily all day long is managing a business that's cars are coming in, trucks are coming in. However, he does have an online store. And I'll give you two cool examples of how, and he's a real marketing oriented business owner. So when you hear this, you'll be like, oh, that's pretty cool. So one thing, he has a little like digital course. And it was very relevant for me when he did it, because as my daughters who are now in college, but a couple years ago, they were driving for the first time. So he had a little digital course on how to choose the first car for your kids to drive, right? How to look, what to look for and all that. So it's like a little digital thing. But then he also did a physical product where he created a little custom bag, about this big. It fits in your trunk, basically an emergency bag. And he put in light, flashlights and everything that you would need, a little seatbelt cutter, all these little things that, again, he's curating and making it easy. And he's offering that to new parents with kids that are out there driving for the first time, to anybody who just wants that security and peace of mind. So, to your point, and he sells this stuff. So, I thought your auto repair example, there's some more, real world examples of how an auto repair shop guy has an online store.
And what you're saying there, where he's put this kit together of all these different things and put it into his own bag or whatever. Kits are a great way for almost anybody to monetize their expertise. One of the examples that I frequently use is, if you know how to cook, you just go down to the dollar store and you buy a roasting pan, a meat thermometer, a basting brush, and you package it all up with your own recipes and call it a turkey basting kit. Your cost of goods, is a few dollars because you are buying this stuff at the dollar store, but people aren't thinking in terms of, oh, I could just go buy that stuff myself at the dollar store. They're looking at this as, hey, this guy has, as you said, curated all this stuff, put it into one place, and he's added his or her knowledge by putting together this instruction book or series of recipes that go with it. So it's really the person's knowledge that's putting this thing together that is what justifies the fact that it's valuable enough for people to buy. And I think that the auto kit for first-time drivers is a brilliant idea.
And it's like you said, he didn't go to the dollar store necessarily, but it's things that he got online at Amazon, whatever, and just again curated and brought it all together. But I'll tell you, and Greg, you and I both know this. There's so much information out there, information overload. You start doing research on, hey, what's the best camera, webcam to have, for example. And all of a sudden, if you're like me, like 5 minutes into it, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's overwhelming. I'm a pretty technical guy. So there's information overload. And then there's also, you just want to know what an expert's opinion is. So as an expert, if you say, listen, here's the webcam you should get, here's the microphone you should get, here's the lighting you should get, for example. It just, again, makes it that much easier for folks to say yes. And, as the trusted expert, or as you become the trusted expert in their eyes, they want to know what you have to say, and they want to know what your recommendations are. So, again, that's why when you mentioned your book, Monetize Your Expertise, I just thought, yeah, this is a no-brainer to want to, write the forward and then join you today. But I want to ask you another question, even for my own sake and for my daughter's boyfriend, because I was trying to describe to him, because again, all he's been doing is using Facebook Marketplace. He has now started putting some of his fire kits in local stores, like a local Ace Hardware. But when you say an online store, Greg, what are all the pieces of that that you're actually helping people with? Because I was trying to go through the list. Well, you need a shopping cart, you need a website, you should really have an email marketing system. That's how I think. Is that what you're thinking, or can you put a little light on that?
Yeah, there's definitely a bunch of different pieces that go into it. And I think that that's one of the reasons that people sometimes get scared off as they sit here and go, okay, well, I can just get a shopping cart, that's fine. But now I've got to figure out shipping, and how do I really deal with shipping? I've got to figure out payment systems. How are people going to pay me? Am I just going to do this through PayPal? Am I going to take credit cards, whatever? Do I need to charge taxes? And if so, how much tax do I need to charge? And then how do I actually fulfill these orders? Am I making these things individually? Am I curating this stuff and putting this stuff together? Am I drop shipping? There's all these different factors that go into it. And it's one of the reasons why I kind of put this course together. I hear lots of people out there telling people how easy it is. Just go out there and just do this. And the fact is, it's not easy. It's hard, it's complicated, and it's going to take a couple of months bare minimum to put this thing together, which quite honestly is why you need me. And you as an expert, same type of thing. People might say, hey, it's easy, just go out there and change your spark plugs or whatever. Well, a modern car, it's no longer the way it was when you and I were teenagers. You can't just necessarily go out there and change your spark plugs. You need an expert. The world is complicated today, and like you said, people want expert advice. One of the great things of what you were saying there about you need what the best webcam is, what the best microphone is, or whatever. Even if you don't sell that stuff yourself, another really good way of monetizing your website is to recommend things to people and use them as affiliate links. You still get paid then as an affiliate, even though you are not actually selling those products yourself. And that's really one of the differences between just having a website out there and having a website that's actually generating revenue for you, is figuring out all these different ways that you can have multiple streams of income on your website. You don't want just one stream of income. You want to have the ability for people to make appointments with you and pay you. You want to have affiliate links. You want to have a shopping cart. You may want to have ads on your website. People go, ads? Well, it's interesting. Amazon sells a bunch of ads on their website, even for things that compete with what they're doing. And they've obviously been incredibly successful. So I always recommend to people, you know, as you can see with my book on Amazon's Dirty Little Secrets, is look at what the big boys are doing. And if it's working for them, how can you mimic that so that it'll work for you?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I was just having a conversation this morning, Greg, with a local bricks and mortar retailer. Again, another very smart gentleman. And, you know, we were just talking about what's going on out there, and, you know, what you're sharing here and what you're offering here really gives hope and really direction. There are so many ways out there that people can either make a side income, a full-time income, you know, and I hear people lament, oh, there's just no opportunity, there's not this, there's not that. And you know, we were kind of going at it this morning, talking, you know, just two friends talking about, like, geez, there's just so much. If you just think, like you're saying, and even here, sitting and listening, talk to you, you're right. There's just so many ideas and so many opportunities. Nobody, in my opinion, nobody should feel like I can't do it, or there's nothing for me to do, or there's no way for me to have an online store. That's good for Greg, but, you know, I can't do it. In this day and age, the technology barrier has really been removed. The cost barrier has been brought way down on so many things. And really, they just need a pathway. And what you're doing here is providing that pathway. So I applaud it. And I would just, if people are watching this and feeling, I mean, some folks are just like, yeah, I'm doing it because I know what I'm going to do. But there's folks out there that second guess themselves. They're not really sure. And I would just challenge anybody to try to get over that way of thinking. Again, take the light, remove it from yourself. Oh, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. And put it on your prospect. How can I serve that person with helpful information, with helpful products, with helpful services? And if you put that onus on, or the focus on them and helping them first, I think it just helps you get over the I can't or I don't know how to stumbling blocks.
I totally agree that's definitely where it starts, is how can I serve my clientele? And the best thing to do is actually, I guess, first figure out who your clientele is, and then what can I do that is really going to make a difference in that person's life? And there are great ways to do it. You can be doing videos, sharing information like this. One of the things that you have really talked about and that I'm going to reiterate again is write a book, write a 100-page book. There's no reason why anybody can't be producing a book and using that as a lead magnet for, hey, here's all my best information. This is how I can really serve my client base. And absolutely, start with how can I help my clients?
Yeah. So if I'm also interested in knowing, Greg, again, thinking of folks that are maybe just starting out. I mean, there's a lot they have to do. There's a lot they have to consider. Are there any sort of like big mistakes that you see over and over again, people making who maybe aren't taking your course or aren't reading your books? What are some of those pitfalls?
You know, the single biggest thing that I see is that people will put up an online store as an example, and they will take a picture of whatever it is that they're selling, usually a single picture, and then they'll say something like, you know, let's go back to my t-shirt example here. They'll say something like, you know, t-shirt, ask me about my online store, 100% cotton or 50-50 blend, whatever. And that's it. That doesn't sell a product. What you have to do is you have to really say, okay, who is my client that would find this interesting? And now, what can I do to share information with that client that's going to make them say, hey, I really want that t-shirt, or I really want that you know, bag for my trunk for my teenage driver, whatever it is. You have to give them enough information to make a buying decision. Just saying, teenage kit for the trunk of your car isn't going to do it. You have to go in there. You have to say, the best thing to do is tell a story, say, hey, I had a teenager that was driving and they got stuck alongside of the road and they didn't have these things. And as a result of that, the only thing they did have was their cell phone, which had run out of battery pack or whatever, and they were stuck there for 3 hours. I was calling all my friends. I didn't know what had happened to them. And so as a result of that, I put this kit together so that I knew that my kid would be safe. Now you're actually conveying information to the parent as to why they should be buying that particular thing. And that's what you need to do with everything. The single biggest thing I see is that people don't give their prospects enough of a reason to buy their products.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been writing marketing copy for 2 decades now, and I'm a student of copywriting. And, there's a cliche, sell the sizzle, not the steak, right? And I always say, just a good little takeaway for people, to your point, Greg, is come up with what I call reason why bullets. So, bullets are just like, peace of mind when your kid, breaks down or whatever. So instead of, yes, the technical details are important. People want to know the technical details, but you're right. In this day and age, you need to do more than just provide technical details. You need to provide benefit-oriented reason why bullets, snippets, whatever it is, content, copy, on, how's their life going to be transformed. For a parent, knowing that their kid is safe, that's a huge point of transformation. I don't have the kit. If I get the kit, I have the peace of mind that my kid's going to have these things and know what to do if they get a flat tire, in the middle of the night or whatever it is. So yeah, to your point, it's probably a huge mistake. And, even existing smart folks like myself can get lazy about that stuff over time, So it's a good reminder for even an experienced online seller of stuff to just kind of go back with fresh eyes and look at, how you're selling.
Yeah. So we've been at this for a while. I don't want to take up your whole day here, but I guess as we wrap up, we ought to let people know how to get your book and how to get my book, right?
All right.
They're both on Amazon. So here are the 2 books.
There you go.
Amongst the other ones that you've got on the back there, and that I've got a pile here too. I've got a couple of your books here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Well, the shortcut, and all it is a redirect, Greg, for the 100-page book is 100pagebook.com. 100pagebook.com, and it redirects you to Amazon. You can buy the Kindle, you can buy the paperback. And can I offer just a little gift to your viewers?
Absolutely.
And you probably took advantage of this. When we launched this a month ago, the site's still there, it's hidden, but if you buy the book on Amazon and then go to 100pagebook.com/gifts, GIFTS, so plural, you'll get some very cool bonus gifts, including some very valuable trainings I've created for how to do your book and how to get it up on Amazon. You just have to put your Amazon receipt in there, and we actually validate it and then send you the gifts. But that way, again, trying to lead by example, Greg, it's important to motivate folks to do whatever it is. And one of the strategies you have to do is, offer, even, you said it before, giving away your best stuff for free. So, but thank you for that opportunity. What about your book? So your book's on Amazon, so it's live now?
It is live now, and I know I owe you a physical copy of it, but I ordered those as soon as I could, and they haven't come to me.
Oh yeah.
So we talked about this whole thing about writing the book in 2 weeks. Well, I wrote the book in 2 weeks, but then it took another about 3 weeks to get it through my editor, and about another 3 weeks now to get it through Amazon.
It wasn't that long. It wasn't that long. But real quick story on that. I know you got to go, but years ago when I first published I used to self-publish a different way years ago with book printers and all. My first Amazon book, Greg, and this is probably 7 or 8 years ago with CreateSpace. I uploaded the book on a Saturday, and as you know, as you upload a book, you can get a proof copy or author copies. So I uploaded on Saturday. I had the physical copy by Monday. You know, it was amazing. Nowadays they slow it down. They charge you more to get it quicker. But I know and I'm going to do it today for you. That way I can leave a verified review. But if I buy a copy on Amazon, it'll be here in the next day or two. So I'll make sure I do that too. But what about
that's pretty good, because yeah, this one that I've been showing here is the proof copy. You know, it says right on all the thing there about not for sale or whatever, not for resale. But the physical ones that I ordered so that I could get you a signed copy and so forth, I don't have those yet. They told me September 2nd or something.
It's definitely slowed down during this whole pandemic too. But now, what about your course? How are you going to be offering your course?
So you asked about the book first. The redirect link on mine, if you just go to gregjameson.com/book, that takes you to the right page on Amazon where you can get it. So just myname.com/book. And if you buy it and leave a review on there, I'm giving people a $100 off coupon for my course. Like I said, the course itself actually starts on September 9th. The cart open date for that is actually next week. So I'll be promoting that more significantly next week. And I guess anybody watching this, kind of stay tuned to the announcement as to when the cart is actually open on that. It is something that I really recommend to anybody that, like you said, either has a current physical store, or they're thinking about, hey, how can I monetize my expertise? The really good thing is, to me, I don't call it just a course. I don't call it like a mastermind or a workshop or whatever. I call it a program, because it's broken down into 3 modules that are each 4 weeks long. And at the end of that, you will walk away with a fully functional e-commerce website, and one that's going to make you money for years to come.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great. Well, good stuff.
Well, I appreciate you being here today, Mike. This was fun. And for everybody that's been on Facebook watching, appreciate you chiming in with here today as well.
All right, Greg, thank you very much. Congratulations again, and congratulations on the upcoming course.
Thanks. We'll talk to you.